In an unprecedented move, the FBI raided ex-President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home on August 8, 2022. Trump, in his typical fashion, is trying to put a spin on things to deflect from his mishandling of governmental documents, and is clinging to completely unrelated claims about former President Barack Obama. Trump is trying to claim that Obama transferring records from the White House to Chicago for his presidential library was the same thing. What happened to the 30 million pages of documents taken from the White House to Chicago by Barack Hussein Obama? He refused to give them back. Trump wrote in a Thursday post on Truth Social. What is going on? This act was strongly at odds with NARA. Will they be breaking into Obama's mansion in Martha's Vineyard? Unfortunately for Trump, the facts are not on his side. Thousands upon thousands of Obama's documents were transported to Chicago, to a federal government facility, as is what is supposed to happen with a president's records. Federal law requires that presidents and their administrations keep a detailed collection of emails, documents, and even gifts from their time in office. Since all of those things are actually the property of the American people. In the case of Obama's documents, the National Archives took legal ownership of them. And then began the long process of sorting through the material before the public could request it years later. Some of this material was then turned over to Obama's presidential library, which is the standard legal process. On Friday, the National Archives, sometimes abbreviated NARA, in reference to its full name of the National Archives and Records Administration, took it upon itself to further dispel Trump's claims. NARA moved approximately 30 million pages of unclassified records to a NARA facility in the Chicago area where they are maintained exclusively by NARA, the archives said in a statement. Additionally, NARA maintains the classified Obama presidential records in a NARA facility in the Washington, D.C. area. As required by the PRA being the Presidential Records Act, former President Obama has no control over where and how NARA stores the presidential records of his administration. As a side note, the Obama Foundation will actually be paying for the unclassified records to be digitized in a bid to democratize access to the documents, in what has been billed to be the first digital archives for the first digital president. Although Trump and his cronies can make the argument that both Obama and he took records from the White House, the significant difference in how they took the documents explains why the former remains under scrutiny by the FBI. And the latter is still in the process of setting up a library unbothered by federal law enforcement. Okay, let's do a little rundown on the search warrant for Trumpville, otherwise known as Mar-a-Lago. The warrant spells out that the premises to be searched are 1100 South Ocean Boulevard, Palm Beach, Florida. It goes on to say that this address is described as a resort club, residence, mansion, with approximately 58 bedrooms and 33 bathrooms, on a 17-acre estate. The location to be searched includes the 45 office, all storage rooms, and all other rooms or areas within the premises used or available to be used by the former president and his staff, and in which boxes or documents could be stored, including all structures or buildings on the estate. It does not include areas currently, meaning, at the time of the search, being occupied, rented, or used by a third party, such as Mar-a-Lago members, and not otherwise used or available to be used by the former president and his staff, such as private guest suites. As far as property to be seized, the warrant spells out all physical documents and records constituting evidence, contraband, fruits of crime, or other items illegally possessed, including the following: any physical documents with classification markings, along with any containers and/or boxes, including any other contents, in which such documents are located, as well as any other containers or boxes that are collectively stored, or found together with the aforementioned documents and container and/or boxes. Information including communications in any form regarding the retrieval, storage, or transmission of national defense information or classified material. Any governmental and/or presidential records created between January 20 of 2017 and January 20 of 2021. Or any evidence of the knowing alteration, destruction, or concealment of any governmental and/or presidential records. Or of any documents with classification markings. Now let's do a rundown on what they actually found at Trumpville. 27 boxes of records. 4 miscellaneous top-secret documents. 3 miscellaneous confidential documents. 3 miscellaneous secret documents. 2 confidential documents. An executive grant of clemency regarding Roger Stone. Information regarding the President of France. A leather-bound box of documents. Various classified SCI type of documents, which are top secret, sensitive compartmented information type documents. A potential presidential record. 2 binders of photos. And a handwritten note. Apparently, the only thing that Trump didn't have in his basement was the kitchen sink from the White House, and the nuclear launch codes. Who would have thought that any ex-president of the United States of America could conceivably have governmental records such as these stored in his personal basement? There is no way that anybody who has been at least halfway awake in the last decade is shocked or even in the least bit surprised at this American disgrace having top-secret governmental documents in the basement of his residence. Here, in a nutshell, are just some of the many things Trump did while in office that portrays, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what an unhinged, deranged individual he really is. Trump incited a violent attack on the Capitol building that left 5 people dead. Drew on a hurricane map with a Sharpie. Said a hurricane was one of the wettest we've ever seen, from the standpoint of water. Bragged about his cognitive abilities by repeating the phrase person, woman, man, camera, TV. Said he was like, really smart and a very stable genius. Said he would build a border wall in Colorado. Colorado, as you may recall from geography class, is not a border state. Repeat, to this day, claims that the election was stolen. Appointed his unqualified family to top administration roles, which made the whole United States suffer the consequences. Was impeached for pressuring Ukraine to dig up dirt on Joe Biden and his son Hunter, threatening to withhold aid unless the Ukrainian president complied with his wishes. Called far-right protesters very fine people. Appointed a far-right nationalist his chief strategist. Repeatedly refused to release his tax returns. Lied about his inauguration sizes. Doubled fees at his resort hotel after becoming president. Attacked former prisoner of war, John McCain as a loser. Ignored evidence of Michael Flynn's meetings with Russia. Appointed Ben Carson, a neurosurgeon, Secretary of Housing and Development. Cut a pandemic early warning program in 2019, that could have potentially saved many lives of United States citizens as the COVID pandemic rolled through America. And as if that in itself weren't bad enough, he allowed top advisor Jared Kushner to have a hand in what was going to be done about the pandemic sweeping America. Kushner left states high and dry, apparently at one point saying, "The federal government is not going to lead this response. It's up to the states to figure out what they want to do." Of course, this did nothing but lead to much confusion in each and every state. I think we can all agree that this past president is nothing short of an American disgrace, who should have never even visited the White House, let alone reside there. This channel, USA Under Siege, asks you to think about this question for a moment. If an ex-president will all but spearhead the overthrow of the United States government, what is there that this person will not